Right, we're here. The condition you're in now, humanity, speaking of humanity.
Is this on?
This is on, yeah. Is the understanding of the understanding of a process that you would call the seed thought. Seed thought. Seed thought. Now, you are the result of that seed thought. You are the result, the manifested aspect of that seed thought. Where'd that come from? The thought of the seed itself. You grew from a seed. Father's seed and mother's egg. But where did it come from? Where was the influence in your life, individually? How did that become generated? The desire for the understanding of the process, what is termed breath. Because as you're out, a body dead, floating around, you're not breathing. There's no breath there. You're luminescent or not, or in the confines of your own ignorance, actually, in the dirt, the dust-to-dust thing. And the dust-to-dust thing is the cognitive understanding of the importance of water, because that's where you come from. Water is the dust you manifested. You're in that process now, spiritually speaking. Your world now is going through a cathartic awakening. Earthquakes, volcanoes, the space that you're in is going to crack. Literally, right in front of you, it's going to open. You're going to see the curtain open. You're going to know what you've done. You probably try to explain why you did it. Don't. Because the explanation is not going to, what you say, cut it. You're going to be into a presence of your own wisdom. That means you're supposed to know what you're doing when you drink your water, when you say your words, and when you think your thoughts. You should know by now at least which thoughts are yours, where they're coming from. You should understand your reactions to events or moments when this disturbance hits your fields. It's not only hitting your auric field. The density and depth of these things now are coming into the chakra area. And you have presences there, personality profiles we'll call it, that you're working through. And you're trying to identify within yourself the personality and correct it, to understand it, correct it. By that I mean adjust it so it's not harmful to other ones and self. That's what you're learning, basically. You're going to learn what eternity is. That's what you're learning. You've heard of reincarnation. Yeah. And you were born, and you grew up, and you're growing up, and you're going to continue to grow up, and then you're going to find out you're growing down. But ascension is really descension, except in a higher portion of yourself, which is a unit of consciousness that is quiet, and it enjoys the exploration of itself within the body, because outside it's invisible, and it can see a reflection within itself, because in you've heard the concept of mirrors. Well, within you there are many mirrors, and the higher portion of your being comes in and reflects within the mirrors. And as you understand these interaction between your physical world, your elementals, air, earth, water, fire, your spiritual world, and you understand finally, eventually, it'll take a while, because you've heard the words before and you have done nothing about it, that your body's a temple. So how do you keep the temple? What thoughts do you allow into the temple? And who's entertaining you in your temple? Huh? The position of entertainment is not the position to be in. The health of body, mind, and spirit is called by the cautionary forces of the movement of what you call dynamic nature upward through the spine and the chakras for the pleasure of being an incarnate walking. For the pleasure of being an incarnate walking. Not in display, but in the presence of feeling and the recognition of all natures. You're going to find out soon, within the next 2 months, I will say, from your, November, October, November, you're going to find the...
No, this is September. This is for the September issue.
This is September?
October and November, yeah.
Yes. As you're going into this, you're going to find, as you walk past a tree, or a rock, or natural forces of spring, that you have entities in there, in the tree, that have recognized you, and you have actually, in eons past, placed the tree there, so when you pass by at this time, the being in there can come in and refresh you. Yeah. There's no time as a direction, it's up. And there actually is no time. And when you extend the expression of yourself, expansion and compassion, contraction, you understand that you were the seed thought into your father, human male, to cause the sperm to swim to the egg of the mother. You sent that seed thought to the male aspect. When you send seed thoughts, they... How do you say? In the sperm, as it goes into the egg, there are many sperms in the ejaculation process that come out. Not just one, many. And in that, there's a competition in the swimming of the sperm to the egg, as a herd going through. And the fastest gets to the egg first is the one that's imbued with what you call life, in your concept of understanding. The push of that swim for the sperm came from your thought into the entity that had the sperm, the father, to enter the mother. So now you're going, human condition is being allowed this understanding. You're going back to that time when you sent the seed thought, and you're going to understand the why of it. And this is where self-judgment and the recognition comes through, sometimes in a painful manner. Because the process of becoming birthed was yours. And you have to accept the responsibility for it. And what the possibility of the responsibility is, you didn't think it entirely through. There was a rush thinking. Your keys to this understanding within the self, within the astrological chart, the birth sign, particularly the most significant is the day of the week. I don't mean the date, I mean the day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day it is. There is a hidden message in there, because overruling each day is one of the planetary significators. That is your, we're going to call it, commander of your jurisdiction. So you need to unify with that day of your birth, the day, because you're unifying in the greater power with the planet that is the ruler of that day. And it's caused you this expansion and contraction of being in a going to call it an orderly progression of advancement in the understanding of the spiritual self incorporated within the body. In other words, you're going to know yourself. And you're going to understand how you were set with that day. It is a setting. And how you performed from that day. So, you beings in your world, this Sunday to Saturday is a week. But the true week for yourself is the day of your birth. Say it was Thursday. Thursday to Thursday. That's your week. You adjust to everyone else's week with this Sunday, but that was changed. The calendar was changed. And it affected the consciousness because you needed to fit in to the, well, you use term a timeline of calendar, or spatial reference is really what it is. Time itself is a direction. It's up and down. And this ascension process everyone's getting into is really descension because you're feeling it now. So there's a clearing going on in your own consciousness of and for, and what do you say? I don't know. A clearing in your own consciousness of your rebellious attitudes. So you're going to find out that you were imbued with God forces for a reason. It was to be present in the space for those that don't know and not to overload it. You simply start recognizing the space and hold the space. As this I'm going to call it a force, but that as this vibration starts increasing, everyone's going to feel it. And the confusion will come in. There'll be a dizziness that suddenly affect everyone on the planet. The orientation of what time and space is going to change. You're going to begin to feel the expansion of the air between you and the mountain or the tree as it breathes. Because there's a being that pushes and pulls the wind. There's a beingness that lives in there. And it is expansion and contraction now, and it's trying to, and it's going to, teach one's living within itself proper breath and technique. And you're going to find out that you are higher in a meditation. You've always been in the meditation. The body physical is the tool for what you understand, the advancement of the soul. But the soul is a word that beings have confusion with. The soul is a being that the physical incarnation has confusion with because it does not want to listen to it. Physical, mental thing. It's the rebelliousness. But in soul is purely electrical. It has an influence in the gravitational fields, which you're beginning to learn. And this is the ability of the understanding of the water knowing you and knowing the Christ. Because you can do the same thing. And you've been told you can do more. You're going to find out the healing process is not an advancement through time. It's a retraction back through time before the illness. And you get clarity in yourself. It's a good to rejuvenation of yourself. You become more childlike. And you start clearing the atmosphere. You don't have to worry about the other personalities. You just start clearing the atmosphere. And then there becomes a refusal to entertain thoughts that are not yours. First you have to identify, is that yours or mine? Where's that coming from? But the speaking is going to start occurring in here. Not from here. Everyone talks from here.
From the heart, not the head.
Yes. They talk with this portion here. They think it's the mind is there.
He taps his skull, okay.
Yeah. The body's the mind. It's a result of what you've done and how you communicate with the interior portion of your being, the spiritual forces that lend you life. It's loaned. It's loaned. And your plants and your foods help pay the debt on that loan by keeping you going. But you don't respect your foods. And now is the time to understand what you call the presence of peace. So you can reflect in yourself. And what is going to really begin noticed is 6 o'clock in your evening. There's going to be a shift, a dimensional shift. Well, you know it is sunlight to dark. But there's a dimensional shift. When it shifts, not just sunlight to dark, it shifts rotationally. Rotationally. From the left to the right. You're caught in that. And the heart has a response to it because it moves from the left to the right. And you're going to start understanding each chamber, the importance of one. The auricle for breath, the ventricles for the pump and push, and the expression of the next desire coming out of the auricle again. And you're going to understand there's a name in there. And then you're going to understand there's a mystery as the four junctions of the heart meet, the cave of you, where you really exist in your hidden self, with the understanding of it's caution to look out of that because of the disobedience in the construct of what you would term is heaven, which is supposed to be here. It's not somewhere else. You're in the process of that development interiorly, and that's why now there's so many arguments going on, because the inner desire of one is not the same as the inner desire of another. And you're going to have to understand what prayer is, because prayer brings the balance in the control function of your inner surrender, we'll call it, because there's a necessity there to surrender to the original force of you, which is the one that placed the seed thought into your father and caused the expansion of you. That's what's coming now. And then the great arguments of what you call the blame of your life was, oh, it is hard because of this and that and the other. But it's the high self that's understanding its mission here. It's doing a reclamation, reclaiming its dignity within the body, and reclaiming its dignity and within the ability to have thought with expression, because animals have the thought, but the expression is different than yours. And you're going to understand the importance of communication. And you're going to understand pretty soon you don't need so many words, because people get caught up in the definition and the confusion of it. And you're going to understand each country has a different level of consciousness. Not one better than the other. But that's the training that comes through from the seed thought. And as you beings expand and contract, which is what you do when you wake up in the morning, there's an expansion, or contraction rather. And when you go to bed, there's an expansion. When you sleep, you expand.